During Age of Ultron, the Incredible Hulk was depicted as a brute of nearly unstoppable destruction, and only the Black Widow was capable of calming him to not only be a danger to anyone or anything around him, but even to the Hulk himself. Black Widow even had so much control or influence over the Hulk, even hearing her voice or seeing her was enough to calm him and even have him revert out of the Hulk persona and back as Bruce Banner. Even with everything considered, the relationship in question disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. But the speculative scenario is this: whatever happened to Black Widow and Hulk's relationship? Through events depicted in Age of Ultron, Black Widow became acquainted with the Incredible Hulk, and the both of them even entertained the possibility of a relationship, with examples of the both of them flirting and having a natural concern or compassion with one another. The quote-unquote relationship even became an aspect relating to the plot of the film whenever the Hulk was depicted, as if the Widow were in danger, Hulk would become angry and aggressive. If the Widow showed affection to the Hulk, then he became more calm and docile. Age of Ultron ends with Hulk leaving the Avengers, and the status of the relationship unresolved. Events held the Hulk in space and teaming up with Thor through events depicted in Ragnarok, with Banner wondering what had occurred since the threat posed by Ultron, as Thor even learned from Bruce that he had been in his Hulk persona the entire time since leaving Earth. As a result, naturally Natasha didn't have much feelings for Bruce or the Hulk anymore. Events later had the Hulk return to Earth, and when Bruce and Natasha met face to face for the first time in literal years, there was a clear distance of separation between the both of them, with Sam mentioning that the entire situation was awkward to witness, and it was even somewhat pathetic. However, when Black Widow was among those who sacrificed their lives to reverse what Thanos had done, he was naturally devastated by learning about her death, as all the other Avengers were as well. From information now known, Joss Whedon, the head writer for Age of Ultron, was one of the main proponents at the early Marvel Studios who promoted the idea of a relationship between Black Widow and the Hulk. Executives were somewhat neutral about the concept of a relationship between Natasha and Bruce, because technically nothing of the sort existed within the comics. And such a theoretical relationship of the time between the both of them would have had to have been largely improvised for the film. Even then, opinions with Marvel producers were still divided upon the concept, but Joss Whedon overrode their concerns and the relationship was written into the film. There were no signs of affection besides general concern or flirting. The quote-unquote relationship that Joss Whedon wrote into the plot for Age of Ultron was vague, as even he didn't know what could happen for future movies that might expand upon the relationship further than what he had originally desired for the characters. Writers from after Age of Ultron to Endgame continued the vague details of the relationship, as the film rights pertaining to the Incredible Hulk of the time were also complex, and Marvel Studios didn't exactly desire to have the character be depicted so long, as the rights weren't clearly with Marvel Studios. This was why the Hulk was essentially written out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe from after Age of Ultron until Thor Ragnarok, and even had somewhat complicated depictions in Infinity War and Endgame. In an effort to help casual audiences who happened to look at Marvel comics of the time, also had a short era of Black Widow Hulk interactions, with longtime readers complaining about the relationship but Marvel simply doing it for short-term correlations to the original Marvel Cinematic Universe, as eventually the relationship from the films were only briefly mentioned in the comics, and was not considered much out of the ordinary when in comparison to the decades of character relationships that Bruce Banner and Natasha Romanoff had with each other or other related characters in the Marvel comics.